Hello, everyone. How is your week going? Mine is going swimmingly. I actually have a very light week this week, which I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna complain about. It is rare. I mean, even when I'm like going on vacation, it seems like there's always stuff going on. So, yeah, I'm kind of just enjoying this lackadaisical attitude towards everything from work to cooking to just like life. I am planning on going away this weekend. I'm going to take a day trip up to Michigan. That should be fun. Yeah, but since I am going to be traveling, although I will only be crossing one time zone, I get a lot of questions from clients about how do you beat jet lag. So, you've got questions, I've got answers. Let's do some Q&A. This margarita is the bomb. Is the bomb. That's all I'm going to say. Now, before we jump into jet lag, what it is and how we can try to beat it, if this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Gretchen. I'm a tipsy travel gal. I am a travel agent and a licensed esthetician, and it is my goal to eat, drink, and spa my way around the world. Of course, bringing you with me, and I can show you some interesting things to do, some fun things to see, and of course, delicious things to eat and drink. My ultimate goal is to inspire you to travel, whether that be international or domestic. So if that sounds interesting to you, please consider subscribing to my channel. Also included in the description of this video is a link to my GoFundMe page. Check it out, take a look. I have a few extra dollars. I would truly appreciate a donation. So, jet lag. Comment below if you've ever experienced jet lag. In fact, comment below in general because it kind of helps me with the algorithm. You could just, comment jet lag if you'd like, or you can just let me know if you've ever experienced it, or even tips and tricks that maybe you have used to try to beat it. But let's start off with what is jet lag. So what is jet lag? It has to do with your body's internal time clock. And that internal time clock is not matching the current time zone in which you are residing. And that's a significant deal. And let me explain to you why. Now, it can occur when you're just passing over even two time zones. But for the United States, it's really more significant when you're either traveling internationally, east or west. North and south, not so much. But yeah, definitely when you're traveling east or west internationally. So how is the best way to describe that? So I used to live in Hawaii. Hawaii is either 4 or 5 hours different in the time zone in the Chicago area. That depends upon whether or not it's during daylight saving time. So let's just use 5 hours as our example. My parents boarded a flight at noon Chicago time. A direct flight from Chicago to Honolulu is 9 hours. That means when they arrive in Honolulu, it's 9 o'clock. But it's 9 o'clock Chicago time. It is 4 o'clock Honolulu time. If you're asking yourself, so what? Well, here's so what. My parents are usually in bed by 10 o'clock, which means when they arrive in Honolulu at 4, they're going to want to go to bed within an hour. Well, that's 5 o'clock in Honolulu, which means they will be up in the middle of the night ready to start the next day. So they need to get off of their internal body clock, and that is jet lag. So how do you beat jet lag? What's your goal? To get your body's internal clock on the new time zone as quickly as possible. Now, I always used to say when people would come visit us in Hawaii from the Chicago area, they always hated me when they first got there because they'd been flying all day. So we got our luggage and back to our apartment. It was like 10, 11 o'clock Chicago time. They were ready to go to bed. They've been traveling all day. They're exhausted. Listen, I get it, but I would force them to stay up. We would go out for a light dinner someplace, and I would make sure they stayed up until at least 8 or 9 o'clock. That way they weren't going to be waking up at 3 in the morning, ready to go and start their day when Hawaii was asleep. So now that you know what that means, let's talk about the best ways to beat jet lag. My drink is getting low. One of the most important things to do is look at your arrival time, because it's not a matter of staying up always, because you may need to go to sleep. So it all depends upon what your arrival time is. The easiest jet lag to beat is an evening arrival time. What that means is you're going to have to go to bed at a normal hour in that time zone. For example, when I went to Hong Kong, I left Chicago at 1 p.m. on February the 14th. I arrived in Hong Kong at 8 p.m. on February the 15th. That means that it was almost time to go to sleep in Hong Kong. Now, the good news about a night arrival, and it's why it's one of the easiest ways to beat jet lag, is that you are probably tired from traveling already. Sure, my body thought it was 6 a.m. However, I had been traveling for 16 hours and 47 minutes. Add on to that the fact that I was up at 8 a.m. so I could get ready and be to the airport 3 hours ahead of time. I basically was almost up 24 hours, even staying on Chicago's time zone. So of course, I was ready for bed. Now, if you are hungry, as I was, you can eat a light meal, but make sure you get to bed at a normal hour. Using all sleep aids are okay. We'll talk about that in a moment. Yes, if you want to use some kind of sleep aid to help you go to sleep so you get a good night's sleep, that is fine too. Now, what happens if you're arriving in the afternoon or the morning? Afternoon and morning arrivals are way more difficult. Take my Hawaii example. Like I said, most people hated me because they had to stay awake until it was a normal bedtime in Hawaii. Now, the good news is that when you arrive someplace to a location and you're traveling for that long and you're that many time zones away, you're usually pretty excited to be there. And sure, you might be a little bit groggy, but you're going to be jazzed and it's going to be a little bit easier to stay up. Things that can help. Try to sleep on a plane. Even a cat nap will help because it's going to rejuvenate your body for your arrival. I would not recommend any kind of prescription or over-the-counter sleep aids because sometimes they can make you do wacky things, and a lot of people like to have a little cocktail here and there, and that could cause some significant problems in the behavioral section. And I know a thing or two about cocktails. Now, the afternoon is much easier because you have less hours to kill, right? For people who were coming to see me in Hawaii, they really only had to stay up another 5 hours. By the time they got there, I got them back to the apartment. They kind of settled in, and we went for something to eat. We were pretty much there. Now, if you are hungry, you need to eat light. And when you get there, get out and move. I usually would take people back to my apartment, get them settled, and then we would go do something, whether it be going and taking a walk in Waikiki or walking around the neighborhood. Or you can go to bed early-ish, like 8 or 9, but I would definitely not do anything earlier than 8 because then you're going to be like wide awake at like 5 a.m. Probably not a good idea. If you do wake up in the middle of the night, you don't have to go back to sleep if you don't want, but do not get out of bed because you don't want to start those rhythms going. You want to stay relaxed in bed as long as possible. Now, morning is the most difficult. You got all day and all night to stay awake. For the Chicago area, this is especially basically when you're going to Europe. So how do you beat a morning jet lag within a morning arrival time? And when you get there, get checked into your hotel, go get a meal someplace, and walk to your destination. It can be light, but yes, make sure it's someplace that you can walk to. You want to get out, you want to get that blood pumping. Then find something to do until lunchtime. Walk the neighborhood, check out the hotel. If you're lucky, you've got something really cool nearby that you can wander about then. Here's where it gets tricky. If you want to take a nap, you can take a nap, but it cannot be any more than an hour. You need to stay an hour or less. Do not use any kind of chemical sleep aids. No pills, because that's going to zonk you out. Then you're going to be up at 9 p.m. and you're going to be completely off. Now, there are other sleep aids that you can use to help yourself fall asleep and take a nap, but definitely no pills. Then get up, clean yourself up, have a nice normal meal for dinner, and then walk around a little bit more, and then go to bed at a reasonable hour. You can do 8 o'clock, but do not do any earlier. All right, so let's now talk about things that can help you fall asleep. Try to stay in bed at least until 6 or 7 a.m. on that first morning. I mean, if you've got something to do, obviously get up and do it, right? But try to stay in bed because you want to, basically make morning. And if you're not a person who usually gets up at 5 a.m., why would you get up at 5 a.m. there? Like I said, if you do wake up at, earlier than that, stay in bed. Do not get up and get ready unless of course you have to, because that's just going to keep you on the thrown off schedule. That being said, try not to sleep past like 10 a.m. Again, you're trying to get that morning synced. So that's the whole goal. So if you sleep too late, you're still going to be thrown off. Sleep masks and earplugs are great for your first nights of sleep because you do not want to be woke up by any incidental noise in the hotel or on the street. Sleep masks make everything nice and dark. Earplugs keep out all the ambient noise. Now, I have problems sleeping with earplugs because I can't stand to hear myself breathe. I know. But I also like ambient noise. So you can always bring like an ambient noise machine with you, or you can do it on your phone. Something that's going to help block out the noise either in the hotel or on the street below. Can you have a nightcap? Sure. However, make sure you've eaten something and do not get drunk, because alcohol will also screw up your rhythm. So if you want to have a nice glass of something or other with dinner, or you want to have a nice glass of wine at the hotel bar after you get back, go ahead and do it. But don't get tipsy, because that's just going to throw things off. And, you know, depending on how it sits in your stomach, you don't want to be getting up and down at night with either stomach cramps or nausea. So keep that in mind. But here is the last big thing, and that is sleep medication. First and foremost, make sure you can have them at your location, right? A quick Google search will be able to tell you if whatever you're taking is illegal in the place that you're going to. Taking drugs that are illegal, even if there's something innocuous, into another country could be a huge problem for you. So just make sure you can take them. Do not take anything with you, whether it be over the counter or not, where you don't have access to the original packaging. Your prescriptions neither need to be in the bottle with the prescription information and your name on it, or, you know, just have the bottle with you and be able to identify the pills that are in your pill case. Also, be very careful, especially if you don't regularly take sleep aids. Sometimes they make you loopy, and you don't want to be loopy in a foreign place, because sometimes loopy in a foreign place might lower your inhibitions. You might get yourself into some trouble. And of course, what exacerbates the loopiness? Alcohol. So if you are going to be taking any kind of sleep medication while you're there, do not drink alcohol, especially close to when you take it. You could have a bad reaction, and believe me, they're not going to care if you do something stupid. If you took Ambien and then had a glass of wine. Trust me, they don't care. So I hope that gives you a really good idea on how to beat jet lag. If you found this content interesting, please make sure you give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. There is a lot more of information like this to come. Again, if you have any questions either about this content or questions you'd like to ask me, questions that you always wanted to know about, feel free to either comment on this video, or you can go to any one of my social media accounts. I am Tipsy Travel Gal on all the main social media platforms. That doesn't float your boat either. You can always go to my website, www.tipsytravelgal.com. Look at the top menu. There's a contact me link, and there you can send me an email. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video. And until the next time, bye.